Welcome everybody, Tony Porter, Cards and Dice TV, 4th Street Baseball, and we're in the bottom of the first inning. It's 2-0 Miami Marlins versus the New York Mets, April 1st, 2019. It's Steven Matz versus Caleb Smith, and Caleb Smith retired the Mets 1-2-3, but then Matz allowed a single and a home run, a single by Rojas, a home run by Rosell Herrera, and that gave the Marlins a 2-0 lead. He then got a couple of ground outs, one by Anderson and one by Castro, and now Brinson walked. So we're trying to steal, and basically we're going to look at Brinson, and let's pull Brinson up. So Brinson's going to try to steal, and he was an 8 jump, and we rolled a d20. We got a 1, so he gets the jump, and now he's going to try the steal. Remember, I'm playing the basic rules, just so you keep that in mind. So he's a steal. I looked at the catcher's arm, and I would subtract, but he's a 0. So I'm going to roll. I need a 10 or less, and he is out at second base. So Wilson Ramos guns down Lewis Brinson, and that retires a side, and that would be Prado is a righty, so that would be the second baseman covering. It would be 2-4, caught stealing. All right, 2 runs on 2 hits, and we go to the top of the second inning. And it's Caleb Smith against J.D. Davis. He is the cleanup hitter. It's J.D. Davis, Michael Conforto, a lefty, and then Wilson Ramos. Now the splits are very important. They're critical in this game, so you have to look at them a lot. And I'm going to put these into view so you can really clearly see what's going on. So the first thing when we start out, now you roll 1 set of numbers. In other words, a handful of dice, just like you would in Stratomatic. You would roll 4 dice usually with runners on base. Well, in this game, you roll 5 dice. Sometimes you need them all, sometimes you don't. We'll see what happens. So we're going to start off, it's a righty batting, so we're going to look at the right column here, and the match. That's the first thing you check, and you're going to use the 2-10 to figure out. That's going to be a 12 against a righty. A 12 falls within the 11 would be the catcher, so 12 and 13 goes to the first baseman. So the first baseman on the Marlins is Martin Prado, and we're going to look at a chart to know what kind of first baseman he is. I could have written it on the page, but I did not do that. At first base, he's a 5. So against a righty pitcher to the infield, J.D. Davis is a 17. So 17 minus 5 is a 12. Then we look at our D20, and the D20 says 18. So that's too high for the reading to come off of J.D.'s card, and it's going to be a Caleb's, actually the third baseman's reading. And we're going to look at the 2D6. It's a 7. We look at Prado, the first baseman, on a 6, and I'll show you how that looks real quick here. There you go. You look at Prado, and you scroll down to 6, and that's going to be a 63, and a 63 is most likely some sort of ground out or pop-up. It's a hard ground ball to first base for out number 1. All right, and next is Michael Conforto. He's a lefty, so that's going to switch it here on the match section. We're going to look on the left side. And let's roll 1 handful of dice. And it's a 59. That looks like a pitcher matchup, and it is. It's above the 50 and before the 95, so it's going to be versus the pitcher, which means we're going to look left-handed batters because Michael Conforto is a left-handed batter. So instead of looking versus right-handed batter, we look at versus left-handed batter. We're going to have to find out if it's a fastball or a breaking ball. And a 7, he's a -1. And a 7 here. Let's quickly take a peek. I didn't have that chart ready, and that gets me frustrated when I don't have the right chart. Let's scroll down real quick to oh wait, you know what? I printed out that chart, but I don't want to move my dog. My dog's lying down right behind my chair, so I'm gonna. All right, a -1. It's 2 to 6 and a 12, and we rolled a 7, so it's going to be a breaking ball, which is a 6, and against a righty pitcher, he's a 17. 17 minus 6 is an 11, and that's an 8. So that's going to be read off Conforto's card versus a right-handed pitcher. And it's going to be a 7 to 2D6. You just add them, you go to 7. That's a base on balls, so it's a 1-out walk. to Michael Conforto, and he's on at first, and next is Wilson Ramos. All right, so we're going to look on the right side of the matchup, and we're going to roll the handful of dice, 5 dice, and it's going to be a 20. So against a righty, a 20 is going to be to the second baseman. And the second baseman for the Marlins is Castro. Castro's number at second base is a 5. So hit to the infield, 16. That's his infield number on top. 16 minus 5 is an 11. We look at the D20, it's a 14. So it's going to be off of Castro. We're going to add the 2D6, which adds up to 12. And we're going to look at Castro, and let's do that again. I did that last time. Let's see, Castro on a 12 is going to be a 54 with a runner on first, and that's going to be a slow grounder. That's going to the second baseman, obviously, and that's going to allow Michael Conforto to make it to second base. So 2 out and a runner in scoring position for Jeff McNeil. Jeff McNeil had a good season in 2019. He had a 318. So there's a potential for a run. The Mets, remember, are down by 2 runs here. We're going to play about 5 innings of this game. Here's a pitch, and that is a 14. The matchup is versus a lefty, so we're looking on this side. The 11 is going to be to the second baseman again. He's a 5 because we remember that. 7 versus infield, 18 minus 5 is a 13, but it's an 11, so we're going to read off of McNeil, so it's a better chance that he gets a hit. And we add the 2D6, that's an 8, and that's going to be a base hit. And it's going to be a 14, and with a runner on second base, a 14 says if hitter wins matchup, runner may attempt an extra base. Michael Conforto, what kind of a speedster is he? What kind of a run rating does he have? Let's look. This is pretty easy to do. His run rating is a 13. We're going to add 2 to that because there's 2 outs. So we're going to make it a 15. And so he's going to try to score with 2 outs. And I can even actually add 3 to that. I'm not sure what the rules say about that. I have to kind of, I haven't. So we're going to add 3 to that, make it a 16. And we are going to roll the D20. So less than 16, he scores, and the throw to the plate, and he is out. Oh boy, so that was a base hit. And that was a base hit, let's see. We looked at the infield, and I believe that was to the second baseman. So that's going to be the center fielder. Center fielder gets credit for throwing out Conforto at the plate, and that retires the side. So McNeil singles, but Conforto gets thrown out at home plate. And we move to the bottom of the second inning. Mets are still down 2-0. This is 4th Street Baseball. Play through 5 innings. Here is Steven Matz against Martin Prado. He was at the plate when Lewis Brinson was thrown out stealing. All right, and he's a righty, so we're looking on the matchup. That's the first thing you do. You look at the 2D10 for the matchup. And that is a 12 against a righty, and that's going to be the second baseman. 12 to 19 would be the second baseman. So it's a Cano, I believe, is a 4 from memory, and it is a 4. And versus a lefty infield, that's an 11. 15 minus 4 is an 11. The 19 is higher than that, so it's going to go to Cano. We add the 2D6, which is going to add up to a 3 and a 5 is an 8. We're looking off Cano. And off Cano, the 8 is going to be a 34, which I believe, I haven't learned all the numbers yet. A 34 is a line drive to Cano. Okay. L4, 1 down. All right, George Alfaro is up next. He's a righty, so we're looking on the right side of the matchup. Looking at it's a 32 on the right side, and that's going to be between 25 and 33 is going to be to the shortstop. Shortstop Rosario. He's a 5. We're going to look infield versus lefties. 16 minus 5 is an 11, and that's a 7. So it's going to hit. The opportunity is going to be off of the infield column on Alfaro. We add up the 2d6. That's a 7. That's a base hit. A ground ball past Rosario into left field. So Alfaro's on with a single. Now, let's see. He's got a jump of a... I'm not going to steal just yet. Curtis Granderson is up next. All right. And let's pitch so it's lefty on lefty. Let's see what the matchup is going to be. That's the first thing we got to figure out is what the matchup is. It's going to be a 19. So versus a lefty, and that's going to be a 19 is right to the second baseman. Again, Cano, I believe, was a 4. Versus a left-handed pitcher, it becomes a 9. It's a 15. So it's going to be off Cano. The roll, the D20 is a 15. That's higher, so it's going to be off the fielder. The fielder wins it. It's going to be a 5 on Cano's chart. Cano's chart is right there. Let's see. What do we say it was? A 5. A 5 off Cano's chart, and that's going to be a ground ball. Hard hit ground ball to second base. Oh, and this may be a double play. Let's look and see what it says. 64. Yeah, it's going to be a hard hit ground ball double play. And it's going to be a 4-6-3. So Granderson hits into a double play, and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, none left. We go to top of the 3rd inning. 2-0 Marlins. Caleb Smith against Juan Lagares, the 8th place hitter, then Matz, then Rosario. Let's get that into view so you can see how to do this, how to play this game. All right. So we're looking at the 12, and we're looking at the matchup against a righty. At 12 is going to be between the 12 and the 13. The 11 would fall onto the catcher, but it's a 12 and a 13 would be the first baseman. And the first baseman is Parra. We said earlier that he was a 5. Prado, not Parra, Prado. Prado is a 5 at first base. So we're going to look at the infield. 13 minus 5 is an 8. We rolled a 3, so the reading is going to come off Lagares. And we got a 5. You add the 2d6. It is a 5, and that is going to be a base hit. Slaps 1 past Prado. And Lagares, the leadoff runner. Now he's got a jump rating of a 10. Let's see if he gets the jump. Oh, a 17. He's not going to get the jump. The jump rating is right up here. It's a 10, so he does not get the jump. He had 4 stolen bases and 5 caught stealing. So Steven Matz now, and we're going to bunt with Matz. And bunting is a little bit different. You use the pitcher's card. Bunting, you're just going to look at the bunt number and see what it is. So we're going to roll 2d6. And that's an 8. So we're going to look at an 8 as a 55. And a 55 is going to be a good bunt. It's going to be to the third baseman. 5-4, sacrifice. That moves the runner to second base. And up is Amin Rosario, leadoff batter, with 1 out and a runner at second for the Mets. Let's see what happens. The matchup is versus a righty, so we're going to see. Have to find out where the ball is hit to or the situation. And it's going to be a 20. If you can see that, it's a 2. Yeah, you can see that, a 2, a 20. So versus a righty. And that's going to fall right onto the second baseman. And that is Castro again. Castro, we said, was a 5. So versus an infield righty pitcher, infield is a 16 minus 5 is an 11. Roll at 10, so it's going to be off Rosario's card. And we add the 2d6, it's a 5, and that's going to be a base hit. Let's see what it says. It's going to be a base hit, a 10, and we said it was to the second baseman, Castro. So it's a 14. fielder won the matchup, runners advance one base, but it was the pitcher wins the matchup. He may try to score. And let's see what Ligaris is run-wise. He's a pretty good runner. He's a 16 runner. And now we got to check. It's the center fielder. We have to check the center fielder, who is Brinson. And Brinson's arm rating, let's look at his arm rating, is a 0. So it's going to be a straight up 16. Straight up 16 to try to score. He's going to try to score him, and it's a 10, and he comes in to score. Base hit, single for Rosario, drives in Ligaris, and it's a 2-1 ball game now. And Rosario may try to steal. Let's see if we can get a steal from Rosario. An 11. Let's see, his jump rating is a 14, so he does get the jump. And the steal rating is going to be a 13. There goes Rosario, and he is safe at second base with a stolen base. All right, so the tying run is in scoring position for the Mets now. And up comes Pete Alonso. All right, so we're looking at the matchup again on this side, this column, because he's a righty batter. Righty pitcher versus righty batter. Pretty straightforward. And it's a 22, and a 22 is going to fall within the 21 to 25 range, which is going to be to the third baseman. And the third baseman is Brian Anderson. And Anderson is a 6. So we're looking at infield. 16 minus 6 is a 10. We look at the D20, it's a 20. So it's going to be off Anderson. We're going to add the 2D6, it's an 8. An 8 off Anderson is going to read, an 8 off Anderson is going to be a 65. And a 65 is going to be a hard ground ball. Runner on first is out in a double play, but he's on second. Other runners advance one base, so he will move to third. And that is 2 outs now with a runner on third base now. So the tying run is 90 feet away here in the top of the third inning. Next is Robbie Cano. And here's the pitch. We're going to look on the left side matchup now. It's an 0-5. Ooh, just missed the power zone. The power zone would have been great. But it's going to be an infield zone. The pitcher's a 3. Defense for the pitcher's a 3. And infield is that looks like a 16. Minus 3 is a 13. We look, it's a 20. So it's going to be off the defense number or the column of the pitcher. We add the 2D6, which is a 1 and a 3. It's a 4. And that is going to be a 24. And a 24 is going to be a pickoff. And Rosario gets picked off third base. Holy smokes. And that retires the side. 1 run on 2 hits. And it's 2-1. We go to the bottom of the third. All right. So it's Caleb Smith leading it off here against Steven Matz. Let's get this into view. And we're going to get Caleb Smith's card. Pop it right there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the matchup is. Caleb Smith bats from the right side. And it's a 0-3 matchup versus a righty. He's going to be a power. Let's look at Caleb Smith's power. Doesn't have very much power at all. We go directly to power. We look at the 2D6, which is add up to a 6, and that's a fly ball to right field. 1 out. All right, next is Miguel Rojas. He's a righty, so again, we're looking for the matchup. We're looking at reading the first at 2D10. It starts with the green. It's a 40 on the matchup, and that is going to be 39 to 43 is a center fielder. Center fielder for the Mets today is Ligaris, and Ligaris' number is a 4. So to the outfield versus a lefty is going to be an outfield versus a lefty is a 15. Minus 4 is an 11. We rolled an 8, so the result's going to be off this column. And it's going to be a 7, and that's a 20. Plus Ligaris, who's his fielding position. Whenever there's a 0 at the end, you add the fielding position. Center fielder's fielding position is an 8, so that's a 28. And the result is going to be 28 is going to be a drive. And that's going to one-hop the wall. Lagares plays the carom, and into second base with a double is Miguel Rojas. A one-out double for Rojas. Here is Rosel Herrera. Oh, you know what? And earlier, I think I looked at Caleb Smith's. It was a 79, I think. Yeah, because he only has. Okay, he has one of these, whereas a regular hitter has two sets. That's why. Okay, so I did it right. Let's just double checking myself. All right, so here is a righty switch hitter. So he's batting righty. So we're going to look at this side of the matchup, and the matchup is a 36. A 36 is going to be a fly ball to left field, and the left fielder for the Mets is going to be McNeil, and McNeil is let's look at McNeil here. McNeil is a 5 in left field. A 5 in left field. So we're going to look outfield. 11 minus 5 is a 6. We roll in 11. So it's going to be off McNeil in left. He is playing left field, so that works out for us. So let's look and see what the result's going to be. We got a 2 and a 4, which is a 6. So let's look at McNeil. And we're going to look at that 6, and it's an 87. An 87 says it is a short fly ball to left field, and that is going to be 2 outs. Runner on second base, and 2 outs. Here's Brian Anderson with 2 outs. We are in the bottom of the 3rd inning. I'm going to finish it off here because the video is getting pretty long. So say going to be a 38 versus a righty. 38 is going to be again at McNeil in left field. McNeil left field again. He's a 5. So 15 outfield column. Let's hit to the outfield. 15 minus 5 is a 10. We look at the D20. It's a 7. So it's going to be off Brian Anderson's card. We add 2d6, which you can see is a 12, and a 12 is going to be a 90 plus McNeil, his fielding number, because it ends in a 0, it's a 97. And a 97 is going to end up being a medium fly ball to retire the side. So they strand Miguel Rojas at second base, runs, 1 hit, the double, and we go to the top of the 4th. This is Cards and Dice TV, Tony Porter, 4th Street Baseball.